Hey guys, another submission, another tutorial. So today I'm gonna show you guys how to render drawings, because last time I posted how to render perspectives, or like post rendering perspectives. The concept is sort of the same, but I guess I want to show you guys how to add certain elements to make it blend with the drawing better, especially if the drawing is like really raw and white and you want it to look all coherent. So this is how I do it. If you haven't watched the video before, the techniques are sort of the same. You just kind of grab textures and then you blend it into the picture using Aperture, blending mode, and like opacity, blah blah blah. So if you haven't watched that, click the link down below. Okay, let's start. So this is my base image for my sectional perspective, and then I'm gonna show you like how it looks like as it goes. So this is like the raw one, and then this is once it's colored, and then this is once I add textures, and then this is once I add the graphics, and then this is once I add the annotations. But I did the annotations on Canva because it's faster and smoother. So let's start with the first one. I'm just gonna go through like really quickly so you can like figure it out. The base drawing, if it's exported through AutoCAD or Revit or Rhino, whatever, you're gonna have like a white base, so it's gonna be easy to color it in. How I like to do it is like to use the paint bucket tool. Okay, sorry, I was finding it. So the paint bucket tool, once you get that, you can just color in the lines here. Before you color it in, I guess the best way to approach this is to figure out your color scheme. For me, I'm going with a bit monotone vibe. I'm playing with darks and whites, and then the pop of color will be like goldish or yellow. So from there, you can just figure out which one you want to color a certain color. So the best way to go about it is to use a bright color for the cut section to emphasize that part, and then the rest you can make it dark. It will take a while, so like, I don't know, man. And then once you get that, it will turn out something like this. So this one looks very clean, right? We're not going for clean, we're going for texture. So after that, you're gonna figure out which part you want it to look rough and which part you want it to look more smooth, like pop out. So for my usual style, I will take a concrete texture and then put it overlay on top of the walls. So as usual, let's search for this. And then I'm just randomly doing this so like you get the gist of it. Okay, pretty okay. And then you're gonna take the layer that you're working with, select your elements with the magic wand, just like I did before in my previous video. To select multiple elements at once, click shift while you're clicking it. And then once you did that, copy and paste it. And then you're gonna take the texture and then create clipping mask. So now it will be directly on the elements that you put, something like that. You have to play around with what texture works best and then how it will blend in. So always play with this part. For this one, maybe like that, and then you're gonna adjust the opacity. Yeah. And then since my drawing is already transparent from it being a drawing, you can just add sky at the back. So as usual, like sky PNG. And then put it all the way at the back, so it'll turn out something like that. And then play with the opacity like that. I don't know. Yeah. And then once you've like figured everything out, it should look something. I'm just speeding through, but like you get it, right? You get it. So yeah, you're just gonna add a bunch of textures until they look legit. I don't know. And then yeah, once you've done that, you can go on to this part. It's the graphics part. This one you have to do a bit of thinking. So for me, you just kind of use your logic. If this part has cross ventilation, you want to show like wind effects, then you go for wind PNG. Let's find something. Okay, let's say the one that you like is a little bit too bright for you, or it's not in the color scheme that you want. First and foremost, just take that out first, and then use whatever blending option that works. So if you want it to blend into your drawing, go to that layer, blending options, color overlay, and this is where you play with the color. for me, this is my color style, so we're gonna go with this. And then you can play with like how it blends. Okay, like that. You see the vision? So that's that. And then it's the same for like, I don't know, arrows. For arrows, if you want it to go a certain direction but the photo just seems pretty flat, like let's say like this, and you want it to be like curved, like perspective curved, you can just play with the transform controls. Go to here, press control while you're clicking the edges, and then that's how you make it perspective. And then you just play around with it until it looks accurate. And then same thing, like you just play with the blending options. Yeah. And then if you want it to blend more, play with the opacity here. And then there you go. For this, okay, I had to pause. So what else? Okay, the sun. Where is my sun? Here's my sun. So if you want to play with how it shines, this is what it looks like normal. And then once you figure out like the right blending option for it, maybe you multiply, and then you figure out the opacity. Yeah, that's how it will look like. For the sun, this is what I use. If I'm all over the place, I'm so sorry, man. Which one did I use? Is it this one? I don't think it was this one, but it's close. Yeah, that's the vibe. You click darken and then boom, it just blends. What else? Highlights. If you want to highlight a certain element of your building, take your photo and then let's say I want to highlight this roof. This one you can make it messy because it will look very cartoonish, which is actually really cute. Go to blending options, color overlay, play with the blending options again, and then opacity, and then if you want it to look super cartoony, you add the stroke here, and then boom. If it doesn't fit, then play with the color, and then the opacity and the size. See what I mean? I don't know, man. Like, it just works. What else? Okay, if you want to highlight a space like this, you would basically do the same thing. You go to that layer, you select it, copy, paste it, and then you put color overlay and do the same thing. This one you have to go a bit crazy so it looks highlighted. Like that. What else? I think that's all. Oh wait, the trees. I don't know if you care, but I guess I can show you. Make sure if you're doing the trees, you layer them so that it doesn't look funny, because I noticed like if it's all a certain opacity, it's kind of weird looking. So you can remove this background and then color overlay. So if you want it to be like, you know, if you want it to have depth, then you can play with the opacity. And then blah blah blah. If you want the tree to look a bit 3D or whatever, just go to this and then inner shadow. And then like, you know, and then play. I'm so bad at explaining, I'm so sorry. But like, yeah, and then you go down to like not make it pop out at the front. And then you erase this. Like that lor. And yeah. Yeah. For the background also, the rain, I guess, if you want to know how I do the rain, it looks like this without the effects. And then I searched for rain PNG. This one, you remove it or use photo room. Yeah, don't fucking do that. Oh, sorry. And then difference works pretty well if it's like tiny little things. Then you can play with the angles, blending options, color, get darker, I don't know. If you want strokes, you can do that too. Yeah, like that. That's all. Everything is the same concept really, you just have to figure out what you want to put, that's all. But to make it blend well, that's how I do it, so you can use that techniques to try it out yourself. Okay, that's all. Bye guys, good luck.